Thank you, Karen, and thank you for having me this afternoon. What we're going to take you through is something that we're very proud to unveil here at the Mobile World Congress. So, Ansible, the business that I run globally, is the mobile agency arm of IPG Media Brands, so a big, advertising and marketing services organisation. I don't need to tell this audience about the day that we live as a consumer. The first thing that we touch in the morning is our phone. It's likely through the entire day, every time we purchase and research and go about our day. And it's probably the last thing we spend time with right before we go to sleep. And the path to purchase has really changed for consumers. So, in university, I learned about the AIDA model, and that's just not the case anymore. The channels that we go through as we go to purchase and research and experience products is constantly changing, and there is no linear path anymore. And what's interesting about this new way that we interact with brands and we go about purchasing and learning about products is the role of mobile within that. So, mobile can play a role at every step of the way. It's not just about the discovery. It's not just about, going into the acquisition space. You are using that device that's in your hand at every stage throughout the journey. Right when you're in that car dealership looking at that, or right when you're discovering a brand for the first time. But the thing about mobile is that the experiences out there just aren't good enough. We're very fortunate to work with many of the world's leading brands, from Coca-Cola and Johnson & Johnson and Unilever. But not every brand is doing what they should be doing for consumers. And it's kind of crazy when, over half the world's traffic to brand sites is now coming through mobile devices. There's a lot of experiences that really let consumers down.
It was the single greatest driver of innovation that we've ever seen.
Thanks to smartphones, everybody has the internet in their pocket.
But the mobile web is really at odds with what everybody does on the web, which is surf and browse, and that should all be fast and easy, and right now it just isn't.
So this thing which should be a source of utter wonder is a source of frustration.
Waiting.
Not letting me scroll.
Now it's loaded.
People bounce. So if the page doesn't load within a couple seconds, they move on to the next page.
That is the worst possible outcome for everyone involved.
So we've got all of these brands that mobile is so important to them, but there's all these poor experiences. And with the countries that we're in and the brands that we look after, we feel a responsibility to make sure that they're taking advantage of the opportunity that mobile presents. So today we're unveiling a study called the mdex. And the mdex is the mobile index. And we've partnered with YouGov and also powered by Google. And it's a methodology that involves 60 different individual criteria that we've assessed and then weighted by consumer opinion to be able to rank brands' performance and also presence within the mobile space. Here's a preview of the methodology.
Whether on the go, at the office, or somewhere in between, mobile users always have their phones within reach. They want them to be fast, intuitive, easy. And to make sure they're getting the best mobile experience possible, brands need to take full advantage of the smartphone's capabilities. But despite that, sometimes mobile experiences can let users down. That's why we created the mdex, Ansible's extensive mobile study and ranking of top brands around the world. Spanning 15 countries, the mdex evaluates mobile assets from over 2,000 brands. We determine final rankings by using qualitative and quantitative research methods, as well as our own Ansible insights and analysis. These rankings were based on brand performance in several key categories: the discoverability of a mobile website or app in search results, how effectively a website is optimized for mobile, how user-friendly and intuitive a mobile experience is, the ease of navigating a mobile site and accessing its content, and the ability to drive users to follow through with desired actions. Speed tests were conducted with webpagetest.org, using mobile browsers with real-time mobile connection speeds from multiple locations worldwide. Finally, Google tools determined each brand's mobile search result page insights and friendliness score, and mobile site and app design principles according to their metrics. In partnership with YouGov Omnibus, we learned what mattered most to mobile users, and we use those findings to appropriately weigh the categories of our mobile asset reviews. The result is a global study that reveals brands' mobile strengths and opportunities to improve. This is the mdex.
So in total, we've analysed over 240,000 data points across those 2,000 brands to come up with this way of indexing brands. You know, when you have a look at success within mobile, there's a lot of award shows, but they tend to focus on innovation. They don't talk about a brand's presence and the opportunity within mobile. So here is the global rankings, and we've got this for 15 different markets, and as I said, over 2,000 brands. But the thing is, this isn't about the absolute rank and where you are, and each of these has a score and all of the different data points that sit behind it. But it's about being able to compare yourself against peers within your industry. That might be a more relevant challenge. Or indeed, it might be having a look at other brands that you consider leaders within your market that you should benchmark yourself against. So the overall score was out of 130, and we had some brands that were, in the tens. So it just shows the variety of, the disparity of experiences there. So, obviously Facebook and Amazon are very large brands. Amazon is amazing in the opportunity that allows you to log in and complete that purchase experience across no matter where you are, and we'll dive into some of their other strengths. Perhaps a surprising inclusion on there is 7-Eleven. The site itself is very simple and effective in the way they have their app strategy around loyalty. It's a brand that you may not expect to be part of here, but in trying to achieve their objectives as a brand, they've been very successful. So what I'm going to do is briefly dive into each of the 5 criteria and buckets of measurement. So discoverability. So brands overall perform the highest in this category, with 37 of the top 100 brands receiving a perfect score. And discoverability, like it says, is all about how easily can I find that particular mobile experience or need in that moment that matters. And it could be at the checkout, it could be as I'm looking at a car, it could be as I'm researching which particular drink to buy. Amazon is a great example of being there in all the moments of need. So, it's very easy to search for electronics, for example, and then, the first link that comes up is actually for Amazon. And taking you through to that mobile optimized environment with all of the reviews and recommendations, it's a very easy experience. It takes me all the way through. And that's also reflected with what you search for within the actual app stores itself. Interestingly, there are some particularly bad performers. Gatorade, Neutrogena, L'Oreal perform very, very poorly in this area with being discovered. And their scores actually across the board were also quite poor. So it just shows the difference between some brands that are focusing on mobile and that audience and opportunity versus some that just are not quite there yet. When we have a look at the second criteria, mobile optimized, so MetLife actually scored 25.7 out of 26 for it. The Google page speed stats was 74 out of 100. The Google friendliness score, 96 out of 100. And the web page load times was only 3.3 seconds, so very, very quick. So what was great about their experience was it was a very legible and clear font. They've got a very broad audience that they're appealing to, some elderly, some young. It was very easy to read. They avoided using plugins and stuff that will either complicate code or not be compatible with some browsers or actually add weight to the page. They compressed all the code, they reduced the server response times, and most importantly, they sized and prioritized all of the different elements and images and content within the site. So it's a very, very good example. When we have a look at navigation and content, so that's how easily I'm able to find my way around the actual site. Honda came up very well. So it got 30.3 out of a total score of 32. They've got very efficient menus, very efficient filters, and it's easy to find your way around. There's clear call to actions throughout the site and drivers on the homepage. They're able to use drop-downs to adjust the content and information. What's interesting about Honda is, whilst they've done particularly well in this category, and also they did well in the utility and usability, they actually scored 0 for driving desired action. So if you actually wanted to leave your details and get a dealer to give you a call to sell you a car, you can't do it within the site. So, excellent in some areas and quite poor in others. The fourth criteria was all around utility and usability. Oops. Come on. Utility and usability. So this is all about driving users directly to what they're looking for. So whether it's brand information, deals, or promotions, or finding a dealer nearby. So what's great about this Hyundai site, and this is a Canadian example, their Canadian site, is just how easily you can configure a vehicle and find out the right price, spin the car in 360 to have a look at all the different angles of it, find the vehicle specifications and images, all within a very sexy and natural user flow. And indeed, as content comes up that is better landscape, it tells you to do that, so it gives you the best possible brand experience. And finally, we've got driving desired actions, which is really getting people through to their end point and the reason why they're likely on your site. So Facebook, as we saw, won overall, and it's also scored 30.9 out of 32 for this particular criteria. So, you know, Facebook, you're there for one of two things, to tell people what I'm doing or to see what other people are doing. And actually, within all the menu structure, you know, you can access almost everything within Facebook within the top 25% of the mobile screen. So the way that they've laid out the menus and navigation is very effective. And you can complete almost any action that you'd use it for within 1 to 2 clicks. What's also impressive about Facebook is the use of the native phone features and content. So whether it's being able to access your photos and video, whether it's being able to access your contacts, it's very well integrated within the actual app. So at the Mobile World Congress, you may be wondering, where did the telcos rank? There's over 100 that we assessed across the study and across the 15 different countries. And here is the top 20. So Canada came up very well. I think Verizon came in at number 7 as one of the second telco, and then T-Mobile came up as number 3. So very interesting to see where brands, where mobility is their business, actually rank within mobile friendliness. And as you can see down the bottom, there are scores that range from very high down to some telcos around the world have got scores of like 10, 20, and 30. So, you know, a lot of disparity between that and then when it's your business. So it's even opportunity within this sector. And so all of this is interesting and understanding where you rank and opportunities for improvement, but there's an economic and commercial impact of this. So if we have a look at bad user experience, the sort of impact it will have, and it's human behavior. If I'm having a bad experience and going through to a particular site, I'll very quickly change my tack and go to a competitor, which is losing all of that opportunity and all of that media money that's been spent to drive somebody to that page. You've given them a bad experience and they're going directly to your competitors. So you've created that demand and you just can't satisfy it. It's also interesting to have a look at the emphasis on user experience predicted by 2020, that it will actually be the main brand differentiator, and it's not about the product and price, it's about the user experience you provide, which actually ties quite in well with what John was talking about earlier. And then have a look at the statistics around actual sales performance and the conversion that you can achieve there. Conversely, the amount of, there's a lot of opportunity and sales uplift as a result of good user experience. So, you know, user experience design for the Bank of America has delivered 45% more registrations. And sales of American Eagle, after the website and cross-platform was redesigned, actually went up by 53%. So there's a lot of negatives that can drive people to your competitors. There's also a lot of positivity that can come about your brand. So what do you do now? So the mdex.com is the website that hosts all of this content, greater information about the methodology. There's press kits, there's all of the rankings by each of the individual countries, and you can register to receive more information about specific brands. So I'd encourage you, your clients, and brands that you work with to have a look at where you rank, have a look at where there's opportunities for improvement, because it's evident that it's only going to bring greater commercial value to the brands if you succeed in mobile and satisfy, you know, over half of the world. Thank you.